Hello, my topic is distribution and determinants of animal invasive species. Look at the fish. Isn't it beautiful? This is lionfish, which has been transported for aquarium across the world. This is native to Indian Ocean, but found in West Atlantic too. So what's the big deal? Its population grows rapidly. Females produce up to 30,000 eggs a month, each of which will hatch in 4 days. It feeds on native herbivores, which causes unregulated algal bloom. Therefore, it imbalances the coral reef system. Lionfish are venomous with these spines containing apocrine type venom glands, which can cause mild fever, nausea, even to death. Lionfish are concerned to coastal managers due to their potential threat to fisheries resources, native fish communities, and human health. So, this is an invasive species. Similarly, there are lots of invasive species. Here we can see how invasive species have adverse impact on biodiversity, ecosystem services, economy, and human health. For better management, we need to know their distribution and how the factors which are responsible for their introduction. Like we saw in case of lionfish, in which alien species are defined as species introduced by anthropogenic factors outside of their natural geographic range and which are capable of sustaining a self-replacing population. They are one of the major threats to biodiversity. In 1958, Charles Elton had published the first systematic study on biological invasion, that is, the ecology of invasion by animals and plants. In this study, I have focused on animal invasion across the globe as they are less studied compared to plants. So, I'm looking into understand the patterns and distribution of animal invasive species at global scale. I'm using mainly three types of data related to species, environment, and socioeconomic factors. So, species data mainly consist of species list and occurrence data, which have been extracted from open sources like GISD, GBIF, and CABI. Environmental data and socioeconomic data have been collected from WWF, DIVA-GIS, CDAC, World Bank data, FAO, etc. Here, the thicker line represents most number of invasive species introductions, and that is the case is in between North America and Asia. The skewed maps shows number of invasive species per unit area for each country. Most of the European countries and islands have higher number of invasive species than the other parts of the world. However, US has the highest number of invasive species. In case of biomes, temperate broadleaf and mixed forest is most vulnerable biome to invasive species. However, for vertebrate invasive species, it is tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forest. Similarly, Palearctic being the most vulnerable realms to invasive animals. Invasive species causes homogenization. Here, clumps shown in different colors contains different invasive species from different realms to all together. All realms like Nearctic, Neotropic, Palearctic, Australasia, Afrotropic, Indomalayan. So clumps are countries with similar geographic regions. Structural equation modeling shows how invasive species are related to various socioeconomic factors. For example, human capital index, trade, export, import, agricultural land are related to invasive species. GLM analysis shows the major drivers of invasions are being railroad, container ship, trade, and human capital index. Number of invasive species and number of threatened species for each country are correlated. It means a country with higher invasive species will likely to have higher number of threatened species. So, developed countries are having more invasive species than developing countries. We need a better documentation of invasive species data for developing country. Temperate regions are more prone to invasive species than tropical regions, which can be an indicator of climate change. Invasive species put pressure on threatened species and human activity facilitates invasive species introductions. I would like to thank Dr. Arvind, Dr. Ravikant, Atri, Mahe and their support, and I would like to acknowledge DST SDSN for funding. Thank you.